As we welcome on our guest here in today's Small Business Spotlight. Joining us now from the Dezign Factory, and that's very apropos that I'm playing Bust a Move because, this design is spelled with a Z, so very cool. And also you have the Laser Factory. Anthony Rogers is with us. Good morning there, Anthony. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you doing?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for coming out and joining us. And let me tell you, one of the first things that everyone says after they come to a comedy show, not just the comedians were funny, we had a great time, but that sign's awesome.
Yeah.
So your sign's a huge hit here.
Really cool, man. So Anthony's been coming to my shows for years, and another fellow small business owner, and his timing was incredible because he shot me a text and was like, "Hey, man, do you want me to make you a sign?" And we had just had a bunch of videos that went viral from comics, but the sign was so big, even though it filled the stage.
For those who have been here, it's the large banner that is now out in the hallway outside the Melody Room to take pictures with comedians during meet and greets and stuff.
And it's incredible, and it worked well for like the Dome and the outside shows because people were further away. But we needed like a small sign that you could always see in the picture, and now the comics always make fun of it. Like, because you realize that I always tell, we could build Caesar's Palace, like the Brigada, and their comics are going to make fun of something.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I saw the one about the new sign when you got it.
Oh, my gosh, yeah, Bonnie McFarlane was
Oh,
like,
yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. She goes, "Oh, Joel, did you take it out of the box and just drop your pants?" And then she said some things that I'm not going to repeat.
Yes, she said some things. By the way, she is probably correct, though. Let's just say, yeah. It's a great sign.
But last Thursday night, Anthony DeVito, one of the guys that I started with 15 years ago, he was like, "Wouldn't it be awesome if this sign got bigger or smaller based on the mood of the crowd? Like the crowd loved that joke, and the sign goes
Or
big."
the medication it's on.
Oh, Mike, you're not doing well. Yeah, but it's awesome how too, like, you have it with different colors and we can change it up and it blinks.
Yep.
It also I didn't figure this out, but it goes to music too, where like
It does go to music. I didn't know if that was going to work because I didn't
Anthony Rogers, everyone.
I don't even advertise it like that because the system does have that, but I encased it inside the wooden frame.
Yeah.
So I didn't know if the actual microphone would pick that up or not. So.
Oh, so it's a microphone in there.
Yeah, there's a control module in the unit.
Oh, wow.
And it has a little like microphone in it, and it's real tiny. So I figured if I encased it in there, it probably wouldn't work.
So that must mean the acoustics in there, because I tell people all the time the comics when they come in. So the ballroom was built in 1931. So the ceilings, and I met the granddaughter, Amy Daniels, her grandfather built this whole building. So she was telling me the ceilings and the floor, everything was built because in 1931, you could stand on stage and you'd have to hear all the way in the back because there was no microphones. They weren't built yet. They weren't invented yet. And 10 years ago, they decided to section it off and have which is now the Melody Room, to have conferences and stuff during the week. But when I took over, I'm like, this is going to be my comedy room.
Yeah.
Because it has the acoustics of the ballroom, but low ceilings, which is great for comedy. So it must pick up that.
Yeah, it probably does.
Because of that acoustics.
I don't think it needs much, I guess, to run it. It just has to hear like a beat, I guess.
Yeah.
It looks amazing when it's up there blinking. But as far as we'll get away from the technology for a second, just the act of making a sign like that. How do you? Because I grew up and I had a wood burning kit as a kid, and it was a little pen that would get real hot, and your mom would be all worried that you're going to burn the house down. There was all kinds of rules that you had to follow when you wanted to use it, but you would just burn stuff into the wood, and you try to make designs. But that's like wood burning on steroids. What is taking place in there? So how do you make a sign like that?
So. The sign is made in 4 different individual layers. So it first starts out on the computer, and I kind of create an idea. So I take each layer, and actually it gets laser cut. So it has to cut the wood out. So however I make the design, I have to make it 3-dimensional.
So as far as you say laser cut, what kind of equipment? Like, you're not using like a Dr. Evil laser, like a laser. It's not like what kind of.
By the way,
laser
our
is it?
hands are soft. You could tell us anything. We'd be like, that sounds right.
You're talking again. Dummies.
Yeah. 2 negatives do not equal a positive.
I personally, speaking of myself, don't know anything about anything.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued by like how anything like this gets done because I'm just I could never. Like if you said your life depends on making that sign, I'd be like, well, I had a decent run. I wouldn't even say good, just I had a decent run.
Yeah, however long it takes him, add 8 to 12 weeks.
Or years on to the end of it. And then we'll maybe be able to make that sign. So what kind of like equipment is used?
So it's kind of like a CNC machine, except for like a router bit. They use a laser. So
Explain
it's
those
a whole,
last few
it's
sentences.
a whole, it's
I
a
didn't
whole,
understand any
like,
of those
flatbed
words.
system.
Okay.
And it has an X and Y axis. So it will pretty much do whatever.
God, he's smart, isn't he? He's smart.
He's trying to dumb it
I'm
down
trying
for us.
yeah.
He's like,
It's a
what?
very simplistic machine. It really is.
What's
but,
it like staring into 2 black holes at once?
Do you have children?
No.
All right. Do you have nieces or nephews?
Yeah, I have a nephew.
How old is that nephew? If you don't mind this?
3.
Pretend you're explaining it to him.
Okay. How would I do that?
Well, is it like wood shop? Like kind of? I mean, not really.
So
but-
essentially, take this table and
Yeah.
pretend this is the laser machine.
Okay.
I can lay a piece of wood on top, and then I just can put its parameters in the computer, and it will follow those parameters on and cut it on the board.
So it has like almost like a this is a really like a pizza oven type shape where it's like there's a top and a bottom and you put something in on the top of it, like in it, and then it will go around and just cut it up.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, think about it as if you wanted to cut something out of wood and you drew like a picture on a piece of paper. That picture you could go around, except for that piece of paper is the parameters in the computer. So I just do it on the computer, and then it will just retrace that onto wood. And
How long does something like that take once you get it in the machine?
it depends on the size of it. My machine's a little bit smaller, so I have to do pass-throughs, which kind of sucks. But
When people say that Indians and the Chinese are only ones good at math, they haven't met Anthony Rogers.
There's probably a lot of math involved
That
in what
was
you do.
incredible. Right?
yeah, there's not really much math involved. It's more design work, like vector work, like
Okay,
logo
okay.
work, and which is what I did for 10 years with the design factory before I bought the laser machine. So it's really the design that actually takes a while.
Oh, okay.
And then the cutting is kind of just it will cut whatever I throw at it. So
So so you actually because the Soul Joel's logo looks like exact as if you see it online digitally. So it did the cutting, or you had to like.
So yeah, once I designed it in the computer, the whole light up signs were kind of my idea to do something different. 10 years I did the design factory, so we did like vehicle wraps and signs for businesses, little yard signs that you put out, like more promotional products.
I got you.
And I tried to do that on the internet, but it's just so flooded. There's, between Etsy and everything, it's just, there wasn't much money to be made anymore. And I kind of gave up on it. And then I have a career, so I was focused on that. And I got the laser machine because I was bored. Because I kind of missed going, doing all that stuff. And then after messing with it, I started coming out with like these multi-layered, that real intricate stuff. And I put it on Facebook, and people were loving it. So I was selling things left and right. And then I wanted to come up with an idea that was different but easy at the same time. So I came up with the light up signs. And essentially I had to create a way to run LED lights, like a channel inside the box. And once I figured that out, I could pretty much put any logo on it. And that's pretty much what I did. So it was a lot of test runs, a lot of trial and error, a lot of wasted money.
It seems like it's like a marriage of like old school with the wood and
Yes.
then the new school technology as far as you mentioned the LEDs. So that's what I think really brings the uniqueness and makes it pop, because it's two things that you don't normally see go together. Normally if you see LED and stuff like that, there's like metal and it's just the sign looks modern. That looks like a throwback sign, but with this modern addition to
Exactly, yeah. And I love wood, like everything that's like wood, I love wood. So like this
Same,
really
but
made
just
me
my
excited.
own.
If you want to slide to your right, I'll slide to my left, and we'll give Joel some room.
I hear you. Well, it's funny. Last Thursday, when the comic was talking about the sign, giving you nothing but plugs. It's amazing. A girl commented and goes, "Tonight I popped my cherry. It was my first comedy show. And by the way, I thought that the sign looks a lot bigger in the pictures."
Yep.
But it's amazing. But you have to do that. Like that's why I got like you have to. I want to fill the stage.
Yep.
But filling the stage isn't the same as filling the camera.
Yes.
With a picture, and it has to be that size in order to fit with the comic and the picture. So yeah, like Bonnie McFarlane was like, Joel. I mean, way to decorate the place. It's like well, it looks like a postage stamp almost when you're in the room.
In the room, yeah.
But when on the stage, it fills it nicer, like in the picture.
When you're taking, because you have to crop it, you know, you're taking off some of the stage,
The
but you
angle.
always want to get that logo in the back. And one of the things that you talked about when we got the sign, and it's so true, if you look at clips from like the Comedy Cellar or these different huge comedy clubs, they all have some sort of recognizable, whether it's a mirror thing in the back that has their name or logo on it, or a sign like we have. I mean, not like we have, because I don't know of any other comedy club that has a wooden sign with LED lights in it. That's amazing. Like, that really makes it stand out in uniqueness.
My man.
But there's always something identifiable that when you see pictures or videos from those clubs, you get that sign right there, and it's not as big as you might think it is in person, but which we all get. As when you're there and you look at the stuff on social media or anywhere else on the internet, it's the perfect size, and it's the perfect kind of not decoration, but the perfect promotional tool for what you're doing.
It's perfect in the framing.
Yeah.
I mean, he probably uses a 50mm lens, I guess, and that kind of brings everything in.
Yeah.
And it fits every single one.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. You're also a photographer.
Yeah.
So is that how like you know what is needed because you're at both sides of the camera?
Yeah, I kind of just went with the largest one I make. Like.
Yeah.
But I mean, whatever. Yeah. Based on what I want in the frame, I can pick different millimeter lenses.
Yeah.
And the farther you go out, the more wider stuff looks.
Yeah.
You kind of lose detail.
Yeah.
And you want that detail when taking pictures.
So
And that's one thing about the lights. No, the lights really make the details pop.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so, but besides us, like, what other kind of? Because I can imagine like going into someone's basement and they have like a home bar and then like making like welcome to the Rogers or something like that. You know what I mean? Behind a sign. So what kind of other clients do you have? Have you?
Like if last night was different, I might be talking to him about making me a Philly sign that had the world.
I thought you were going to say K-hole.
No, okay. Well, that too. Hey, the K-holes finally rode on Saturday.
Yeah.
Sorry, you guys.
No, that's fine.
We started doing the show.
Do we have a moment?
We did.
Oh, okay. Back to our guests.
Yeah, sorry.
What other kind of customers have you had?
So I do business logos like yours, a lot of the bigger ones.
Yeah.
I sell on Etsy though, so a lot of the stuff I have.
He
is like,
found it.
I was looking
Did
at
you?
your stuff on Etsy. Yeah, that and you speaking of this isn't a light up thing, but I don't know if it's done with the lasers. But this logo that is all four of the big Philly sports logos together is awesome.
That is my biggest seller. I mean, I probably ship out 3 of those a day.
Yeah,
Three of those a day.
Yeah, I have to make them in bulk because I can't.
They're fantastic.
Well, thanks for making time for us.
And I think actually I like the wooden one that has
The mahogany.
Yes, I think I like that one
That's
a
my
little bit
favorite.
better. Yeah, I don't know why the colors are cool, and they're great and they all go together. But there's something about like this one's a little more understated, baby, and it just makes the logos I think pop more.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm always a fan of just stained wood. Like I hate painting.
Well, you love wood.
I do love wood. So I made that one second. I started out by making the painted one, and then I went with the mahogany.
And do you find that like your designs kind of mature or evolve over time? Like you start with something like that's cool, but next time I want to do this or I want to do that.
Absolutely. For the maps, I started out with the maps the most. Like that's what I wanted to do when I first got the laser machine. That's the 4th generation of my maps.
By the way, for anybody who wants to check this stuff out while we're looking at it, Etsy.com/shop/The Design Factory, or you can just search for The Design Factory. Design is spelled with a Z, not an S. So The Design Factory. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I just wanted people, if they wanted to go check it out.
And that Z, I get bothered by the Z. The only reason it has a Z is because when I made the business, I needed a domain name, and the one with the S was taken, so
Yeah.
we went with a Z.
But even if people don't like it, they remember it.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
remember that it has a Z in there. So even if you have to take a little BS from about the Z,
Yeah.
totally worth it at the end of the day.
Exactly. It's like me being for years Soul Joel. Oh, really? I was expecting you to not be as white. So the Z is the least of our worries here.
So, you have a lot in common.
Yes. Hello.
So the maps like you have on here, I'm looking at a map of the Great Allegheny Passage, which is a little less detailed, but then you scroll down and there's like a wood map of Paris. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah. So I went through that. I think those are my 4th generation. So, I mean, I started out by making like kind of circle ones, like oval, which definitely could use some improvement. So then I added the name on the bottom, but none of them were framed or anything. So I just kept making improvements. I got better at the design work, so they're actually more intricate than the initial ones I came out with. So if you look at the Philadelphia one or the New York City one, you can see how much detail is actually packed in that map.
I'm trying to find
Right there, the Seattle one.
The Seattle one, okay.
That's just as good, but I mean, there's the details.
Look at that.
Insane.
It is crazy. Like every block is there.
Yep.
And how long now for something like this? I know you put it in the computer and then the laser printer takes care of it. But as far as designing this, because there is a map of Seattle. I'm going to guess for your use there isn't something you can just take off the internet. You probably have to really sit down and get to work on it.
Yeah, so I found this software that will map it out, but it kind of works like Google Maps. So if you zoom out on Google Maps, you lose all the detail. And if you zoom in, you get added detail. So when I'm making these maps, originally I started out by zooming out and then just doing what it gave me. And then I was like, there's a way we can get more detail. So when designing it, I actually zoom in as far as I can to get detail, and then clip them all together in the computer. So it does take a little while.
Yeah. So to design, let's just say the Seattle map.
So the Seattle map took me a while because Seattle's kind of large, and I had to do a lot. But I think it was probably 4 or 5 hours.
So like half a day, just to design it, and then for you to throw it on the machine, like
that piece takes 2 hours and 20 minutes just to cut that road piece.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it's not like it can move like a laser printer and go fast. It has to
go slow
because everything has to be perfect. I mean, every line there's 90-degree angles in here. There's turns. There's not, I don't think 2 or 3 shapes that are the same. It's all over the place.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. And I mean, the laser tries to figure out the best path, so the software will figure out what's the most efficient.
It's like Waze.
Yep.
But I feel like
Also with a Z.
if you were trying to like say you're like locating like it's like Uber or DoorDash, and you're like, no man, you went too far. No, make the next right, make the left. Like that's how close you can see.
You can have his sign in the back of an Uber. You went the wrong way.
Yeah, what are you doing? Go around the block again, dum dum. Like that's how much detail is on this map.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. Now, has anyone ever requested a design of something in particular that has been either uber challenging or like almost impossible?
Yeah, so I used to do custom orders all the time.
Okay.
But the design work is almost not worth the money.
Right.
I mean, I do it more for the passion. And
Wow, I'm
to
looking
see
at Philly here. Wow.
The Philly one. So the Philly one, it didn't laser right, so I had to do those lines, the etching lines of the rest of the
ones on the base of the wood there?
Yeah. Wow. But it's still pretty detailed.
Yeah, it's awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
No, you're good. So I used to do the custom stuff more for like to see what I can do and to also see a customer happy.
Little challenge.
Yeah, yeah. And the one I had, they wanted the map that I make of their beach house, but they wanted their boat on there as well.
Okay.
So I made one with the map in the background and then waves, and then I had to trace their boat because it was a special boat, like it was a custom boat. So that's kind of out of my realm. Like I don't do usually like freehand work.
Yeah.
So that was a challenge for me, and I pretty much traced every part of that boat and turned it into a vector so I can cut it out with a piece of wood. And then I even color matched their their color.
Oh, wow.
Of the boat. So it was a really cool design. I don't have a picture of it right now, but I can send it later if you want.
Yeah.
So
later we can post it up on the
project like that. How long does a project like that take?
I don't know. I probably was doing design on and off for like a week. And then, when you're cutting it and you're trying to figure out layers, sometimes it doesn't work. So those layers get thrown out and then you got to recut. So, I mean, at the end, it was probably a week and a half of work.
Just for that one design. That's amazing.
For that one design.
There's a level of patience that is needed for doing this stuff that I do not.
Oh, man.
I do not have.
It's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really good at vector design. Like, I've been doing it for I don't know, probably 15 years now.
Oh.
So like, normally that stuff's easy for me. This I have to like retrain my mind because you're cutting into wood, so you have to have something that holds it together. And that was it was really hard for me to wrap my head around it, especially with the multi-layered stuff. But once I got the hang of it, the design works pretty easy for me now. There's still some challenging things, but it's more challenging because I have to clip all these things together to make it work. And
Right.
other than that, I mean,
Yeah.
the vector stuff's pretty easy.
Other than that, is no problem.
Yeah. Now, are you affected like by obviously like over the pandemic, like wood went up and stuff like that? Like your business is probably directly affected by that, right?
Yeah. So actually, it's worse now than during the pandemic.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I can't get mahogany. I use a special wood.
Sounds like he's doing a bit. Mahogany, almost impossible. Can't even get my hands on it. Don't even mention the M word. Not around me. And I love wood.
It's a sore subject.
Yeah. Mahogany's out.
Big mahogany won't.
So what do you have to go? Oak? I'm just naming
Should
wood
we
at this point.
see how far you and I can go before we're out of wood?
Yeah. Maple, lot of sap.
Pine.
Yeah. Oh, pine. What an idiot. Just clunk our heads together. Back to you, Anthony.
The wood I use is really for like cabinetry work, and the reason I switched over to this stuff is it's an MDF core, so it cuts nicely, but it looks really nice on the outside because they use it for cabinetry.
Right.
The problem is only like 2 people around here sell that type of stuff.
Oh, wow.
And
Hey, you don't want to give their names out.
no,
It's already hard enough to get this stuff.
I got a guy. He's on a corner. You wouldn't know him. He just pops his head out. Like
You need wood?
Yeah, like Caddyshack.
I got wood.
yeah.
I thought you were going to tell me you did cabinetry work. I'm like, where do you find the cabinet? No, but that's where
that's
wood's-
where the wood is
Yeah,
supplied
it's,
from.
yeah,
and,
normally, yeah.
I never had an issue with the mahogany, and now they're telling me it's back ordered. Like the company that supplies them is back ordered. So I spent the past like 2 weeks
Just stressing.
Yeah, I was calling around to like other states, and they don't have them. They only have like 4 pieces left. So we're switching out the wood from mahogany to a sapele, which is close. It's still an African wood.
Okay.
Kind of looks about the same.
No,
Similar.
of course. You knew that, right?
Yeah, I'm very familiar.
Yeah.
I could. If you said repeat the wood he just said, I couldn't even repeat what he just said, and I was listening.
If you don't think Soul Joel's familiar with what you just said, you got another thing coming, buddy.
Hey, I didn't know what it was either. So
Oh, okay. That makes me feel a little bit
I
better.
didn't even know mahogany was African wood.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
I didn't
you?
either. I just thought it was something that Ron Burgundy bragged about.
Yes, rich mahogany.
Yes, exactly. Thank you so much.
I'm
I set him up, you knock him down. I'll see myself out.
I've watched movies.
Yes.
But you mentioned that you have a smaller laser printer. Is that something you want to eventually upgrade?
oh yeah, that would save me so much time. It's just the problem is they're very large. So if I was gonna spend the money, it would be like a 56-inch flatbed, and the machine's a lot bigger than that. So
My wife won't let me get a TV that big either. So
Nope.
it's too big for the room. She says. I'm like, I don't think that's a thing.
Yeah.
that's normal, right?
Yeah.
That's
That should be. Every TV should be too big for the room.
The Phillies just lost last night. Let me have a little fun.
So, as far as you said that you did the design factory first, and do you just do the laser stuff now, or do you still dabble in some of the stuff you used to do?
I do have a career job, but I got laid off a few months ago.
Sorry, bud.
No, that's all right.
Yeah.
And then they gave me 3 months severance, so I was like, hey, I'm just going to take this time to expand my business, which is when I came up with the light up signs.
Yeah.
You've only been doing those for a little
the
while.
light ups are new. Yeah,
Wow.
they're fairly new. And then they kind of just blew up. So I'm still doing that right now.
Dude, isn't it funny where pain sparks creativity?
Yeah.
Yeah, like so someone mentioned that when LeBron left Cleveland, there's going to be a lot of artists and a lot of comedians and different stuff coming out because the pain that they suffered from LeBron leaving Cleveland.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, he started this creativity and contacted me, which is about when we did this because of what happened to him. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love seeing that. I mean,
That's very, very
not
cool.
because of your pain, but you didn't.
I mean, it wasn't very painful to sleep in. I was still getting paid to sleep in.
Yeah.
We'll do the jokes, Anthony.
But I went through basically a very similar thing when I got into radio while I had a job as working for a bank doing IT. And I was like close to 30 when I went to the Kennedy School of Broadcasting. So I was doing IT during the day, and then I was producing and interning at first, and then producing a show and doing sports updates at a station at night. And it was just a lot. And I just didn't have the guts to pull the trigger and quit the day job and just go all in because I had a wife, I had a daughter. It was tough to make that transition to just rip the Band-Aid off, if you will. But then I got laid off in 2008 because banks were laying people off. It wasn't a great time back then to work in any kind of financial industry or really any industry. But once I got pushed out and got that severance, so I had a bit of a parachute that I could count on, a little wiggle room, I was able to give it a try and invest in radio. And now here I sit in the closet talking to Joel.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Renee said that the same thing happened to you whenever you got fired and came to Soul Joel's.
that's right. I was not fired. But yeah, so like sometimes you need that the push to make what you really want to do happen. So at the end of the day, are you glad that this happened and now you have the opportunity to kind of go all in?
So, kind of, yeah. I really like to own my own business. Like I've always done that. Like, and I always like I like working with my hands. And my career job, I'm a software engineer, so it's mostly just sitting on the computer programming. And not really a big fan of like working from home, but I also don't want to go in, so I don't know what I want.
Yeah.
But yeah,
got a backyard.
You want to sleep in.
yeah.
Yeah.
But my business was a way to kind of just separate my mind from, work.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm in the same spot, I'm at home. I need some type of separation, and I can, go downstairs and work on this stuff and be creative. And, it was just a little different. And now that I've been doing it, I'm just like, do I go back? Or, I mean, I'm still going to get another job.
You are?
Yeah. And I'm going to do this on the side. And if it gets too overwhelming, hire somebody. But,
Do you like kind of having it as an escape?
yeah.
Do you think that keeps you more motivated and you use the word creative, more creative because?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I do like logo designs for a lot of my buddies and their businesses. And I know like a lot of successful people, and I use this to help them. And I just like that. Like, I like being creative. And every single thing that I do or somebody tells me to do is always different. So it's never the same thing. Programming kind of gets
Monotonous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also keeping it on the side, it doesn't feel like a job. Because sometimes, no matter how much you like doing something, eventually it can feel like a job, and it can kind of take some of that, juice out of it. But if you keep it on the side, it's always kind of this thing, I'm going to go do this now.
Yep. Yeah. And I kind of like that. So, I mean, sometimes it gets repetitive, like the Philly signs, they sell a lot. So I'm
Probably a little bit less
knock
now.
out some of those. But
Yeah.
for the most part, it's cool because I can see something on the computer that's two-dimensional, and then I get to make it three-dimensional. And at the end, I have a physical product that I made from, my design, and I'm happy with it.
You feel
Customers
proud
use
about it.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
just like,
Because people probably right away, the first thing they do is take pictures and post them.
oh, yeah.
Because wherever they put the sign, like we did, wherever the sign goes, got to put a picture up and share how cool it is. So you get to see them enjoying it as well.
Yeah, and I was super excited to start seeing them come out with the signs. I was
All
like,
the pictures. Oh man,
They look great.
Honestly, it makes us look better too because it's what we want, and we want that, like you said, the identifiable, like the Comedy Cellar or New York Comedy Club. You see when we see the picture, you know exactly where it's at, and all those pictures have been framed so that we have the sign in there. So it's been equally as nice for us.
Good. I'm glad.
It's awesome, man.
Very
Yeah.
cool. So is there any designs that you haven't tried yet that you kind of want to see how it plays out with the laser printer that maybe you'll do in the future?
I really want to do like trail maps, like, hiking trails. I'm a huge, outdoors person, and I love to go hiking. And I get a lot of requests for that stuff, but the problem is like the data for the mapping is
Right.
not always there.
Yeah. Those trails haven't been blazed yet.
Well, they have them. It's just the software is so
See
complicated.
myself out.
No, the trail software or your software?
The software for the trails, it's a whole world mapping system. So like I can find everything on that, but it's so complex to me.
So there is a world trail mapping system?
Oh, there's a yeah. It's called I think it's called QGIS. Yeah, QGIS. It's a full mapping software. It's free actually.
A free and open source geographic information system.
Yeah, I mean I can do depth of oceans. I can do
What?
waterway, any like lakes, the depths of the lakes.
But what I was gonna say is it's like the map of Philadelphia. Those, you know, even though they're one-way streets, they're still, you know, big enough for a car to fit down. It doesn't make it difficult with the trails because it's just a hiking trail, and they're a lot significantly smaller. Is that why they're also hard to do for you? with
No.
the wood?
So what it is the software that I use is for the maps is a more simplistic software. So it's more just for the roadways and like waterways. But when you start getting into like the trails and like those type of things, I need to use that other software. And it's just it's so large. It's like so much involved in it. And every single time I try it, it just never works out, but I know people do it. So I really just have to learn that software. But that's what I want to do with some of that.
Do you have a trail system that you want to start with? Like that would be the project that I want to get done, and maybe that's something you keep for yourself?
Oh, yeah. Acadia National Park in Maine. Maine's like my favorite. I go up there all the time. I love it up there. And the trails are pretty brutal. But that would be my starting.
Wait, I'm an idiot. Where is that?
In Maine.
Oh.
You said,
I heard Arcadia National Park. But
yeah, I've heard that. That's
like
like
Arcadia University is not far from here, so I was like, is everybody right?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm
No,
an
it's
idiot.
actually northern Maine, like pretty far up.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like probably 9.5 hours.
But I've heard that like if you want to, if that's one of the top places in the country to watch a sunrise, if I'm not mistaken, like
Acadia?
yeah, on top of a mountain there, like there's some
Oh, yeah.
overlook.
Probably the overlook.
That's why it popped in my head. It's Arcadia. It's a 55 and older community in Limerick. They come to a lot of my events. I'm so
You'll be
dumb.
there
And
next
even
year.
Joel went on a couple dates there.
Dude, I feel like 7th grade. I just go right back into my locker, and I'll let you two talk.
Arcadia University is in Glenside. There you go.
Strike two.
That's right. That's around here. You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. You're right.
So it's almost in Maine, basically. I mean, it's almost in Canada.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like right below Canada.
Strike three. Wow, you guys are really bringing the heat. Philly season's over, but someone's still throwing fastballs right past me. The bat was in my hand. Talk about wood. I stink.
Oh, Anthony.
Dude, and I don't know if it's because you sent like because Mike had pulled up on your Etsy like the Cadillac sign, but that blue for whatever, the light blue,
Oh,
for whatever reason, it pops so well that's like, because obviously we had different colors, like he's, you know, the Eagles green and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, that light, like North Carolina blue,
Yeah.
it just pops in pictures against the wood. I don't know if it's mahogany, but it's amazing.
The reason I actually went with the blue on Etsy is because it shows up so well in
Yeah.
the
It
does.
photos. So,
Yeah.
So it isn't just us.
No.
Because
No.
we all like
the orange and
Yeah.
stuff,
Yeah.
it really it tricks the camera. So
Yeah.
if I put like orange on there, you almost don't see it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So the blue is the default color, and like the orange ones, like the Flyers one that I really wanted to make orange, I had to lower the light, so you'll notice that picture's a lot darker.
yeah.
I thought you were setting the mood.
Wow.
Well, and also like red really pops too, but you're like, oh, that's like an angry color. You know what I mean?
aggressive, yeah.
Like you're like, oh man, like
And
you're-
red's hard to get with LED.
oh, it is.
Yeah, like you need a lot of lights to get red to come out.
Why is that?
properly. I'm not sure. I think just the way that red is made with the LEDs, like my strips have, you know, maybe LEDs every couple, like maybe every inch. To get red to pop really bright, I mean, you need a pretty powerful LED strip, and I don't know why, but it's always been like that.
Yeah.
Now, as a local guy here, do you catch some heat with the cowboy sign
Oh yeah,
being on your website here?
yeah. I do a lot of craft shows, and I put them right next to each other.
Just
And some people will come and turn them around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's a good joke.
That is so funny.
But I mean, you do. You have an Eagles American flag with the Eagles logo in the center, and you have one with the Cowboys. They look amazing, though.
Thanks.
Now, do you sell more? Do you find more of the sports memorabilia, more of the maps? What tends to be your biggest seller?
The maps are pretty popular, and same thing with the light up signs. The sports stuff doesn't sell as much as
Really?
You would.
It looks
expect
so
it to.
great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, have you thought about
I
putting?
mean, the Philadelphia sports team one that I made
Yeah.
sells a lot. But
Yeah.
the other stuff, not.
So just
not-
that
not
one
all
that's
that much.
the meld of all the different logos.
Yeah.
Huh, I do love that one. That one definitely is my favorite as
Then
well.
I'll have to bring one in.
I'll have to. I'll be sending this to my wife as a hint for a Christmas present. But have you thought about putting the LEDs maybe into the maps at some point?
I did. I wasn't sure how I was going to do it because you have to have some room for the light box, the light channels, and also you need acrylic, which is what disperses the light. So I couldn't do the roadways light up because it would be too much gluing. Like I would have to glue every single square. I would have to glue on then. But I was thinking about making the ocean light up. You know, the waterways.
Put some blue in there.
Yeah. So I'm still working on that. I have an actual design on the computer right now, but I think it's a little too thick. So I got to find a different way to put the control module because I have to have room for that control module.
So that is kind of the next evolution of the map signs.
Yeah, I'm gonna give them both options for light up and non-light up.
Yeah,
so.
I just when I looked at them, it just seemed like maybe some street lights or you know what I mean, or like you mentioned the water.
I could do street lights.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm not trying to make more work for you. I think they're all amazing. If people want to find you, is there any place other than Etsy that they can find you? Are you on Facebook?
Just pretty much Etsy.
Etsy?
Yeah, I don't have a website up or anything like that.
Yeah.
Etsy does good for me, so all my work should be displayed on there. And if you need custom maps done of certain locations, just contact me and get you going.
All that through Etsy.
All that through Etsy.
Awesome.
Or my phone number, which I think is on Etsy too. So.
All right. Very, very cool.
I've given out my phone number way too many times.
Yeah.
I accidentally
Used to
did
be on
that.
all the flyers.
I accidentally did it on the radio once.
Oh, you did?
I was giving out the station number, and I was I forget what I was doing. I was doing something. I was multitasking while I was doing it, and all of a sudden I see the board op like slam over the board and hit the dump button. I was like, I didn't curse. He's like, you just gave out your number instead of the station number. I was like, 267. Did the whole thing. Luckily, Noel dumped it. Noel dumped it. All right.
Thank goodness he was listening.
Yes, that one time. The Design Factory with a Z, multi-layered laser cut wood products right here in Pottstown, Pennsylvania.
Yep.
Excellent, man. Excellent. I think everything you do. I didn't know you did the maps, and I didn't know you did the logos until I was looking at this. And it's all amazing. We love the sign, by the way, from the Soldier sign you have in the Melody Room. From the moment we saw it, and you're right, the blue color. As soon as we saw the blue, it didn't take long to decide there was going to be the blue. We all agreed. It's fantastic. It's the perfect addition to I think what we have going on in there.
I appreciate it.
Thanks, man.
I really do. So.
Anthony Rogers, everybody. Again, Etsy, the Design Factory. Check it out and make sure that you order something. Holidays right around. Do you see a rush around the holidays?
The rush is now.
Now? So how long?
It's not going to stop.
If they want to get an order in for a certain time, whether it's a birthday present, a Christmas present, whatever the case may be, how soon should they get that in?
I would start ordering now.
For Christmas?
Yeah, because
Okay.
last year it got to the point where I had to cancel orders towards Christmas because I couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
So if you definitely want especially custom stuff like a light up sign that I don't have on there, now's the time.
Yeah.
A little more wiggle room if it is something you have on here.
Yeah, a little bit more wiggle room. I would say the beginning of December would be.
Order them now. Order them now.
So.
Yeah.
Go on the webs and order them now. That way they order them now, guaranteed for the holidays, right?
Guaranteed, yeah. And shipping gets crazy towards the holidays too, so usually they're delayed. So if you get them now, you don't have to worry about.
You don't have to worry
shipping
about it. Yeah. Just have to worry about where you're going to hide it as a surprise.
Yes.
That's your problem, not ours.
No, we can't help you with that.
Yeah.
We've already went ahead and got you the present.
What's that? Nothing.
Mind your business.
Yeah.
All right. Anthony Rogers, The Design Factory with a Z on Etsy.